Hello people, this is not a scratch card video, this is about the chaos of Brexit and the outcome of it from both a UK and global viewpoint. On screen you can see the UK debt at 2.1 billion and going up very fast. I will come back to this later. We got wealthy individuals that buy country bonds, so UK bond essentially, well UK bonds essentially, which is debt for the country. Now the UK is very close to a no-deal WTO exit from the EU. This is making the global financial sectors in all countries questioning how is the UK going to be able to pay back its debt obligations with no trade deals. That's the important thing. No trade deals. People who think WTO is manageable, a manageable no deal, it's just wrong. It is just wrong, and that's why MPs are voting against the no deal. If we use a football analogy, WTO, which it stands for World Trade Organizations, is not even in the league. It is not in no football league. That's how bad it is in terms of like trade what's the word, trade departments, I don't know, trade areas. WTO rules is just the real basic trade terms, and the global financial sector is looking at the UK as a higher risk to buy UK government debt, because we will have no comprehensive trade deals if we leave on WTO terms. If we lose that ability to raise cheap funds in the form of debt for the country, then it don't really matter who's in power. That government would be forced to enact austerity 2.0. They won't call it that. It won't be called austerity because that is a very poisonous PR stunt now. So it'd be called something else, but it will essentially be austerity 2.0. This will fuel the hate and anger within society more. This is not new, as this happened in Germany in the 1930s. The poorest Germans at the time had nothing. Along come a man called Hitler, giving them hope, and well, we know what happened there. Going back to trade, experienced trade negotiators will be looking at three key points when they're negotiating with the UK. One, the UK being set up on WTO terms, which is terrible. Two, the scrapping of all our trade deals, which puts us at zero. And then three, being our debt obligations, which in or out of the EU is still £2.1 billion worth of debt. These 3 points will be used to get the best trade deal for them at the cost to the UK. Now, all these clever slogans, you can go on about them all you like, but when you're at the table of trade, you're dealing with very experienced people who will be looking at the numbers and coming to a conclusion to make your side look weak. And those 3 points are that they will be used. Be in no doubt, at the trade table, they will be used. Ken Clarke knows that. He's a Tory MP, and I have got great respect for him because he's standing up against his hardline Tory Brexiteers and telling them straight. I've been in this position. I've been in trade talks with many countries, and it is not easy. It's difficult, especially when they're very protective over their own industries like the USA. So be in no doubt the USA will be far harder on us to open up our food markets, destroying our own farmers and other food areas. And we will become a slave to the USA prices of cheap produced food. The EU's not great, but when you have 28 countries, all of them with their own viewpoints, it's always going to be complex. Not even the USA has such a comprehensive market between states. The there's so many points to make, people. There really is. You know, we need we need a deal from the EU that is going to act like our safety net. If we leave on WTO rules, we don't have a safety net, people. And that's the reality of it. And what you're seeing on the screen is the £2.1 billion worth of debt obligations. And that doesn't matter if we leave or not. You know, that's still going to be there. And I think that comes in at around something like 80, around 86% of our current GDP. But as that's going down because of this chaos, it's making global markets, as I said earlier, thinking, well, hold on a minute, the UK ain't going to be able to keep paying their debt obligations. And if that happens, the UK becomes classed as a higher risk. And like with any global product, if you become a higher risk, the returns have got to go up too. So the UK would have to start offering a better interest rate on people buying government bonds. That's what it boils down to. I'm no expert in all this, but the government debt, the public don't really get to know. We don't know who we owe the money to or nothing. It's all kept away from us, and it's not transparent at all. So it's probably just mostly billionaires who've got hundreds of millions to put somewhere safe. And now the UK is not becoming a very safe place in its current form, and is even questionable. If we do leave the EU, are we going to be able to make up the difference fast enough? And on a no deal, manageable trade deal, manageable exit, there's no such thing. There really isn't. That is a clever slogan, just like it was back in 2016 when people were saying it'd be the easiest trade deal ever. We'll be able to set all our current trade deals up with no problems whatsoever. That was a lie back then, and they're lying now. And I didn't want to make it about total Brexit, because that is total. But this is about after. We've already had that route, and now we're discussing if we leave. That question about Brexit was so stupid, and Dave Cameron will go down in history as a very stupid man who tried to make it very simple so he could use Project Fear to scare people into voting Hang. But what you don't understand is he used all that up before in other issues. So 2010, he used Project Fear. If Labour gets in there, crash, they won't sort out the crash economy that they created. That was a lie. Then come along the Scottish referendum, and then he started saying, well, you'd be safer to stay in the UK because the EU, we won't be leaving the EU, but if you choose to leave, you won't be part of the EU anymore. And the SNP have gained in a lot of votes because of that. And that was, again, Dave Cameron. And that's why Dave Cameron left. On that Brexit result in 2016, Dave Cameron left because he knew there was no way in hell of getting a soft Brexit and keeping the Tory party together. And that's why he quit the party. And be in no doubt, this Brexit was a Tory project. It always has been. They've always been trying to push for Brexit for decades. And this is nothing new. And the chaos we're in now, I don't know how we're going to get out of it. And the anger within communities are only going to increase if we actually start getting to the point where our government can't raise debt, because the debt have become too expensive. And that's how bad things, I think, could get. And it's that democracy versus debt basically, and the debt was the biggest problem. Dave Cameron should have never. He should have just pushed them down straight away and say, no, we got in power because of the debt. We didn't get in power to have a referendum. That is just a byproduct of the debt. And to a degree, I am skeptical if Dave Cameron was looking for a way out. And he thought, well, I just bang all my eggs in the Brexit debate. If we get through it, then I can carry on and try and find another way out. But if I loses it, then I can just quit, and then I won't have to worry about paying off the debt, which they said they'd pay off in 2016, which was total crap, because as you can see, it's 2.1 billion now. I've been rambling on for 10 minutes. I'll leave it there. Yeah, I just wanted to make this video because it's so depressing with how anger and how people like pushing each other to stupidity levels is and wanting to fight, and it's just democracy is about having your say and voting for that say. It ain't about picking the winning side, and I think that's where people's lost the plot, is they want to be on the winning side. Oh, we won the Brexit, you lost, get over it. Well, no, it's not about that. It's about what you believe, and also what you're being told by people that you think you should respect. And I think we're fast realizing that politicians are becoming the least trusted people in the country. But yeah, thanks for listening if you've made it this far. Until next time, people. Ta-da.